Hi, everybody. It's Friday, and that means it is time for Lily's News. Happy New Year. It is officially 2024. And that means craziness in the world of documentaries. So, what we're going to talk about today. What are we going to talk about today? Let me get my document up. We are going to talk about the two things, maybe three. Colleen Ballinger is back. Of course, we have to talk about what she did. She's been back. She made a little nod to 2023 being the worst year of her life. Couldn't imagine why. And then we are going to talk about the documentary season 2, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. Because we have to. I wanted to talk about when the first season came out, but I knew that they were going to do a second side to the entire story, the entire saga of this poor girl's life. And so I wanted to wait. So I waited and I watched it and I rewatched it. And then I rewatched the first season and then I rewatched the second season again. Because it's just insane. It's purely insane. But anywho, welcome to Insane Games TV YouTube channel. I'm Lily, and this is Lily's News. And let's just get into this Colleen Ballinger stuff. Okay, so we all remember Colleen Ballinger, the toxic gossip train. She was the reason that the internet all came together for a really long time last year. Adam McIntyre came out with the stories, and other human beings came out with screenshots and their own stories of traumatizing events and just terrible, terrible things that Colleen Ballinger has done, with an entire smiley face, pure joy. I'm so far from evil. Look at me, I'm a mom energy. And then she disappeared after she handed us the toxic gossip train 10-minute song about how she may have done something terrible, but nobody's perfect. So she came back. She started vlogging again about a month or two ago, and I want to share this few minutes of one of her latest videos after the new year with you guys, because she is doubling down on things being terrible. And Colleen Ballinger, and she's doubling down on things being terrible, but not her fault. And she mentions something that I don't think I've ever really spoken about, because it's just so weird. So this is Colleen sitting down and telling everyone that it was awful, and she hits you with something that only is going to stir empathy from even like the coldest of hearts on the internet. So let's just jump into it, okay?
Again, this is not a year recap video. This is literally just a vlog saying hello, welcome to 2024, and here's some cute clips from the last few days. But it feels weird for my first video of 2024 to like not mention anything about it being a new year, last year, and all that stuff.
So she is sitting down. She is surrounded by white. Her white walls, her white desk, her white couch, her white pillows, her white blanket, her white shirt. Her hair is pulled back out of her face. She is not making much eye contact with the camera. She really doesn't do too much of that, just in general. But I have to feel like this is so well thought out in her brain to make a wide shot. She's sitting, she's probably cross-legged, her arms are coming towards her center, she's making herself seem very small, she's making herself seem like all of these things happened to her, and her energy is low, and you're going to see like the effects that all of it has had on her.
Go into 2024 with positive energy and motivated, inspired spirit.
The music too. She's scored this video. She scored this video for some strange reason. I don't know if it was so people didn't like clip it, or if it was just she's trying something different. But I feel like this entire, I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. But all of this moment in time where she's sitting here is completely backtracked, which is so strange.
And I want to welcome positivity and kindness.
It's just that like next level emphasis on I'm a good person and I'm making these really awesome changes and everything's really good and everything's better and we're moving in the right direction. Hi, Crystalline and the Lone Wanderer's Bunker.
Give positivity and kindness, and in 2024 I want to focus on listening more and being more present in the moment, dwelling on things that I have control over and not the things that I do not. I want to focus on creativity and passions and things that make me and my children happy. I don't have any New Year's resolutions. These aren't things that I wrote down in a journal. These are just things I'm word vomiting out onto the internet right now.
I thought that was a really strange statement that these aren't resolutions. These aren't things that she wrote down in a journal. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? If you write it down in a journal, then it's real. Like, what is, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. What sort of standard is she trying to hold herself to where, well, I didn't write it in a journal, but these are things that I don't get it. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. This does not make sense to me.
But things that I know that are important to me. And yes, 2023 was not my favorite year I've ever lived, but I'm grateful for 2023 because I feel like I grew and learned more in the year 2023 than I ever have in any year of my whole life. I learned a lot about being a mom. I learned a lot.
So she says she grew and learned more in 2023 than she ever had, which she didn't show us that. There hasn't been any, other than her coming back and making videos, she hasn't sat down and said, whoopsie daisies. I haven't seen or heard anyone recognizing like the true growth or acceptance or acknowledgement of all the people that she hurt throughout the past, 7-10 years. So, but you're a mom.
The internet, I learned a lot about myself and qualities that I don't like about myself. I learned things about myself that I do love. I learned that it's better that I'm here on this earth than not. Great.
That's what I wanted you guys to hear. She made it very clear that this is her, and I really don't even need to play any more than that, but this is like so you know how like creators do like money grabs, and they'll just like pop out some, like merch real fast, or like Shane Dawson with like his palettes with like Jeffree Star. It's like a full cash grab. This is an empathy grab. This is a straight up empathy grab for Colleen and her audience. She made it very clear right now, in not so many words, that she was at least thinking about, I don't know if she did anything or she attempted anything or anything like that, but self-harm. And that, saying it out loud is empathy grab. I can't sit here and say like this is why it's hard. So I can't sit here and say that just because you have more money you have a better life. I wouldn't know. I don't have more money than I do now, but I do know that you have a lot more resources available to you and easily accessible to you than those who don't have your amounts of money. So I think it's very, very inappropriate to make that comment. I think she did a really bad thing, by adding the emotion behind it, by saying, and with tears in her eyes, that I've learned that it's better with me. I can understand if you had that struggle, for sure. But you didn't say anything to the people who also may be having that struggle. It was you and only you, especially like in this moment right here. It was all about you, and all you want all you want is people watching and to leave you comments saying, oh my goodness, oh, I'm so sorry for you, oh, that must have been so hard for you, oh, your life is really, really hard and you are such a good mom. All she wants is the empathy and the attention on that. I do not see any good intentions by making a note in this video that she may have had any sort of experience in the whole realm of self-harm through this whole thing. I don't like that. She made a comment of it in her ukulele video, and she made a comment in it now. And I don't watch all her videos. But I do know that saying that is just an empathy grab. In my opinion, it's just an empathy grab. And she's mentioned multiple times that she has therapists with an S, more than one. She has people who are available in her cell phone to call when she needs them. She is surrounded by other humans, other adults as well. And not everyone has that opportunity in life when they're at that point when they're debating or thinking about self-harm. Some people are completely alone. So there was no effort here to say the world's a better place with me in it and the world is a better place with you in it as well. There was nothing giving back to the people who are watching. She only wanted to take all of that empathy, all of that energy. And that's where I am ending it with Colleen, because that itself like just totally ruined it for me. I am probably never going to talk about her again unless she comes out with some big blow up. She says I did it all and I am sorry to specific people, but that's that. She of course had to start the year off reminding everyone that all of the drama happened. Get those views again, get that February check coming in. So that's that Colleen Ballinger stuff. But let's get to the important stuff of the day. We're going to talk about the oh my goodness, what is it called? The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. I'm going to do a full breakdown because it's on HBO Max or Discovery, whichever one you have, or if you have both, or if you have none. I'm going to do a full breakdown of it because I need you guys to understand and recognize just how absolutely insane this was. So starting at season 1, episode 1, first season, we're hearing the story of Natalia Grace through the non-believer's point of view. So we're seeing, you're going to hear the names Michael Barnett, you're going to hear Christine Barnett, you're going to hear Natalia, and you're going to hear about other humans who don't believe that she is a child when she was first adopted into the Barnett family. They don't believe that she was under the age of 10. They don't believe that even 5 years later she was still a child, middle school aged human being. They don't believe it. And then the second season we hear from people who not only believe it but have scientific proof that she is currently in her very early 20s, which would make her much younger. In like 2000s, being born 2003. So, all right, season 1, episode 1. It starts off with Michael's side of the story. The biggest like break of the episode is that Natalia Grace, when she was adopted, Michael and Christine, the parents, they already had 3 kids, 3 boys. And one boy who is on the autism spectrum and a bit of a genius. Very cool. He's like the moneymaker. So he's like the reason they do all the things. They have like a special needs sort of like after school program situation that brings in some money for them. Christine is thinking about writing a book. She's working on all of that because her son is a genius and the son's going to all these things and doing talks and demonstrations, and it's good for them. They wanted to adopt a baby. They find Natalia, and there's a day that after she was brought to the Barnett's house, Christine finds pubic hair. And that was like the big break. Christine allegedly, all of this is alleged, okay, allegedly screams for Michael to come in. He comes barreling in, and it's a total shock that this 6-year-old has pubic hair. There's the hiding, throwing out of socks to hide her cycle. It's so crazy. They meet where they live. They just so happen to be on like a forum, a child who also has the same form of dwarfism that Natalia has. And so they meet up. They have a little play date. It's a very rare form of dwarfism. They have a little play date, and there's some pictures, and Michael says, oh my goodness, this is where we saw Natalia being compared to someone else her exact same age, completely different levels of like physical maturity. Her face is it's so much more defined, and Natalia realized that happened, so she puffed her cheeks out to make herself look more childish. The Barnetts had a friend who spoke Ukrainian, and Natalia, who was living in Ukraine until she was about 5 years old, had no idea, allegedly responded like she had no idea what this person was saying to her in her native language. And then supposedly Natalia didn't speak for 4 days. They put Natalia into a psychiatric facility, and apparently she had to come home because she was getting too sexual with the men there. Mind you, she's like 6, 7, maybe 8, and she had to go home. The allegations of Natalia poisoning Christine's coffee, we'll get back to that in season 2. Knives. Natalia loved to hide knives, and she hid them under her bed. She stole knives, and there was even a moment where she's standing in the doorway of her parents, Michael and Christine's bedroom, with a knife, like some horror film. The original family, the Chicconis, I believe is how they say it, were looking for someone to adopt Natalia. But it came with $25,000 in legal fees that needed to be paid to adopt her. There was a time where Natalia was being punished. She was forced to sleep outside. She started crying. The neighbors called CPS. The cops show up with CPS, and supposedly, according to Michael, the cops suggest to them to file for a re-aging of Natalia because she's clearly much older than she really is. But unfortunately, that cop is dead now. So who's to say if that actually happened? I don't think too many police officers give out legal advice. But, what do I know? There was a home study report done, and apparently domestic violence has happened within the household before Natalia was even part of the Barnett family. There was a creamery incident. They call it the creamery incident. So the whole family went to the creamery. I think it was Jacob's birthday. They went to the creamery. It's a place where you can milk the cows, and it's a big farm. Who doesn't love that? And so Michael goes off with the boys. Christine stays back with Natalia. They, on the way in, supposedly had to sign a document agreeing to stay away from the electric fence because it's very dangerous, and we're not liable. The farm isn't liable if you get hurt on the electric fence because we told you about the electric fence and it's dangerous. Supposedly, Natalia thought, ding ding, this is the time that I can off my mom, Christine, by, being a 7-year-old and dragging a grown woman towards an electric fence, supposedly. Christina's screaming. Christine's screaming bloody murder. She's trying to kill me. She's trying to kill me. That bitch is trying to kill me. That whole thing happened. Michael had to come running, and sorry, I forgot that I was on little screen. A cop at that level giving out legal advice like that would be like if I gave them financial advice. It's so funny. And the creamery employee says, no, that didn't happen. The ambulance was called. It was a whole thing. Like, imagine it just a whole thing happening. It was a whole thing happening. Natalia gets re-aged. So Natalia got re-aged to 22 years old. So she went from being, at this point in time when she was being re-aged, probably around 8 years old to 22 years old. So her date of birth changed from the year of 2003 to 1989. She would be older than me. And that all is just absolutely crazy. So let's see. Okay. Very fucked up. Very, very fucked up. And so this is all still part of season 1. So she gets her first apartment as a 22-year-old adult. Michael is so kind to give her furniture and groceries, and they say goodbye. And the neighbors start to chime in season 1 with their experiences with Natalia in her first apartment as a legally 22-year-old grown human who's probably still under the age of 10. That Natalia was a terrible neighbor. She met a little boy, played with him, rolled around in the grass. She met a little boy, she played with him, and then she was like playing on their little like scooters and whatnot. And it was stinky. She had bad hygiene. She wasn't wearing a coat. It was getting chilly. Toby is a neighbor that people like. Oh my gosh. Toby has stories. Apparently Michael did visit her a little bit more than Christine. Christine was such a bitch to her, allegedly. Michael did show up with like groceries every now and then. He wasn't there every day. He wasn't there every other day. It was still pretty messed up. DCF was called, Department of DCFS, Department of Child Family Services, was called, but she's an adult. So child services can't do anything because she's not a child anymore. Legally, she's 22 years old. And this sparked outrage from Michael and Christine because they didn't want people snooping into Natalia's life. So, like, when the Department of Child Services was called, it was a real shock for them. They're like, whoa, we have to do worse things, sneakier, to make sure Natalia stays out of our lives and is not a problem because Christine is like a little celebrity. She has like a book and people loved it, and she's doing news interviews and she's online and she's famous. So a lot of shitty things. Okay, so parents erased all the so Natalia and Michael erased all the contacts in Natalia's phone so that she couldn't call anybody. She couldn't call like DCFS, like her worker for child services. She couldn't call them because the phone number was no longer in her phone, and she of course didn't have it memorized. Natalia started getting clingy with am I on big cam or little cam?
From big cam.
Okay. Natalia started getting clingy with the neighbors. There was a moment when Natalia was playing with a... Oh, I thought I switched over so long ago. There was a moment where Natalia was like rolling around in the grass with a young boy, and apparently the rolling around turned into her being inappropriate or attempting to be inappropriate with this young boy, resulting in the father of the young boy pulling him away, screaming at Natalia. She didn't know what she did wrong because she was a child, but she's technically 22. She would pop up at other people's apartments. She would like demand like Toby, a neighbor, to be like, hey, where were you? What are you doing? When are you gonna be home? She was lonely. She had no friends. It was a small sort of like apartment complex neighborhood. Oh my goodness. It's so crazy. Natalia then confessed to her neighbors that she allegedly attempted to off her mom with a knife and poison, and the neighbors got scared. And they didn't think that she was a child. They never thought that this might be a tiny human instead of just a little person. You know what I'm saying? Like, this may be a young human being. They didn't see anything wrong with it. They didn't call anybody. They didn't talk to anybody. They didn't get anybody involved with Natalia, who has a rare, almost debilitating form of dwarfism, struggling with doors, struggling with groceries, struggling with hygiene. They just kept calling the complex, and the complex was like, yeah, we have to put a case together to get her evicted. Okay, so Natalia's parents, which is awful to call them that, Michael and Christine, said, you know what, there's too much drama happening. We are moving you. You are being moved. We're moving you to a completely different apartment because we're moving to Canada. The family, the Barnetts and the 3 kids, were moving to Canada. They needed to get Natalia out of that first apartment and brought her to Lafayette. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is just so crazy. So this is terrible. They move her to Lafayette, and this new apartment is like up a set of stairs, like up a set of concrete stairs, and then maybe some wood stairs. And then it's the second floor, the second story apartment in a building. She can barely walk like a block, let alone upstairs, maybe with a bag of groceries or a bag over her shoulder or anything like that. Unlocking the lock, it's a whole thing. Terrible struggle. And also Lafayette, not a great part of town, not a nice neighborhood. Michael made it seem very shiny and pretty, with it being right near a grocery store that she could use her food stamps at. There's the place where she can get her GED and study up for that. There's the learning center, and there's a Salvation Army, and the bus is 2 blocks away. He made it very shiny and pretty and neat and comfortable and cozy, but she was still a child living on her own in a really dangerous part of town. But luckily for her, her new neighbors, the Manns, took her in and treated her like she was their own, which really cool. Now, Christine was like, that's not cool because you guys are now subletting the apartment, which is against the contract, the lease, and the Social Security checks that were going to Michael to handle all the bills for Natalia was signed over to the Manns. So, problem. And the Manns were like, okay, yeah, we'll just file for guardianship. It's no big deal. And like, we'll take care of Natalia. You guys can go live your Canadian farm life on your own and don't worry about it. Well, Christine didn't like that, and it did not get approved. 5 years. 5 years of living and taking care, and she's around the family, she's helping out, she's having fun, she's living life, she's being a child, doesn't get approved for guardianship, which is crazy. So this is where Michael and Christine start to have a fight. Well, they have all the fights. They're always fighting. They're never not fighting. But they get a divorce because the fights are so extreme. It got to the point where Michael, driving the car, listening to Christine jabber on, nag a bunch, I'm sure, and he started like screaming at her like, shut up or I'll kill you. And this is Michael's story, she turned her angel voice on and pulled out her phone, started recording, and turned around to the kids and said, see, Daddy's gonna do this, he's gonna unalive us. And I honestly, if I'm gonna be honest, Michael lies a lot. Michael is a liar. I honestly kind of believe that happened, though. I can see it. I can envision that moment happening where Christine, from all of the things that have happened and that we've seen of her, I could see that she might do that to her kids to make sure she has something on Michael. I can see that happening. Unfortunately, it may not have happened, but I could see it happening. So yeah. So it's a whole thing. There's definitely domestic violence happening in the Barnett's house. They are now being charged with child neglect from when they neglected Natalia. So they get a divorce. It's a very messy divorce. And there's child neglect charges on both of them, Michael and Christine. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Michael has a couple conversations with police officers. He gets a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. He turns himself in. The next day, Christine turns herself in. And Michael claims throughout the whole thing he has no control. Christine held the power. And when it got to trial time, Michael had really good lawyers. Michael had a really good legal team. This whole situation is messy, Crystalline. It's so messy. He had really good lawyers, and so they were able to get Natalia's age or any mention of her age being a child, a young woman, an adult, anything like that, inadmissible in court. So it cannot be said in court in the live trial. So they had to refer to Natalia, who was at the time, if she was born in 2003, maybe 11, maybe 12, like around there, early teens. They had to refer to her as a person, as a human, this human, or just Natalia, which of course the jury never heard any mention of a person's age. They just knew that she had dwarfism. She has this very rare type of dwarfism, and apparently the jury said not guilty. We can't hold you accountable for child neglect without knowing if this human being is a child. It was never said, and with it being withheld from the trial, very disappointing outcome for Natalia and everyone around her, for sure. Okay, season 1, episode 4. Michael is accusing Christine of beating Natalia. I kind of want to play this for you. I know HBO is not going to like it, but I really need to. I think you should see. I think it's on the internet. People have made TikToks and stuff about it. But I think it's kind of important to see. So let me just pull it up real quick here. Okie dokie. Curious Case. Season 1, episode 4, -11. Season 1, episode 4. Okay. This is a moment where you get to see truly how exhausting Michael as a human being can be. He is over the top. He is so big. Everything is massive. Everything is big and dramatic and messy, and he is constantly reacting. Oh no, why not? Oh no, hold on, I don't think I can.
A lot of websites block being able to.
That's so mean. Okay. Give me a second. Maybe I can find a TikTok with it. Haha.
In the air.
Okay. Okay, I found it in TikTok form. Okay, so this is Michael Barnett. Someone just recorded this on their phone, which I love. This is Michael Barnett. He is discussing watching Christine physically attack Natalia. And this is a really great, like, kind of like litmus test to see just how dramatic Michael actually is. He's kind of on the crazy side, and I don't want to call him crazy, but like he's on the crazy side of living life. He's very big, he's very dramatic, he's very theatrical with everything, and it comes off as lies. It comes off as lies, and I think it's because it is.
My wife. I'll try to be as accurate as I can. Get one of the guys to point the camera at the floor.
He just told the camera crew to get one of these guys to point the camera at the floor.
I need right here-ish to get you to understand.
Crazy. I was crazy once.
The beatings were similar to this.
This man. Nobody asked him to do this. Like I said, messy. So messy. Nobody asked him to do this. This was all on him. He volunteered this demonstration, this dramatization of the events that he claims he only witnessed. And so... And now his hands hurt. Why are you doing this?
Ow.
That ow. That... I honestly don't even know how to explain someone who acts in this manner. Like, I don't know how to use my vocabulary to describe to you someone who acts like this while filming a documentary about the child that you left in multiple apartments, multiple mental health facilities to survive on her own. Like, I can't even describe the level that this man is going through to come off as like he is not a liar. He is trying so hard. Every ounce of him is trying so hard. That's what you give me, right? Like, of course, ow. Like, the question, ow. Like, you're confused at why that hurt you? I don't understand. Oh my gosh. So, Jacob now as an adult, he is with Michael after the divorce, after the trials and everything. Jacob describes the horrors of Natalia and doing horrible things to her as well. Jacob, who is on the spectrum, has discussed in this episode the things that Natalia allegedly did to him and the things that he allegedly did to Natalia. There was a hot mic moment about him, kicking her down the stairs. So I can almost assure you that, yeah, she probably did get beat in that house. By who? Don't know. But that was on a hot mic, hot cam. They thought they weren't rolling. Crazy. Throughout the whole series, they continually refer to Ukraine as the Ukraine, and that makes me mad. That's just annoying. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Even Natalia, which I thought is strange, but I can almost see her having that response and not fully understanding the not being necessary when referring to Ukraine, because I think there might be a little bit of her trying to get away from her birthplace, her like the birth of all of her trauma. After she was birthed, it was trauma. She was given up immediately. Her mother's rights were, she denied her rights to be a mother to Natalia, so it was immediate trauma to be put into an orphanage and then live life in Ukraine without a family. Craziness. Charges against Christine for the trial, they were dropped because they found they had separate trials. So Michael had a trial first. Charges against Christine were dropped because in Michael's trial it was found that Natalia was not a child, so you can't have child neglect charges on someone who was legally found to not be a child. So her charges were dropped. Let's get into season 2. Natalia Speaks. So this is the newest 6 episodes of this HBO documentary where Natalia is sitting down in front of the camera and sharing her experiences, her memories, and she has a lot more support and just support of humans around her who fully believe that she was a child when she was adopted by the Barnetts. She was like 5 or 6 years old, and she is still very young, in the grand scheme of things. She's in her early 20s. So when she was going through all of this, like the whole thing, she was a child. Season 2, Natalia Speaks. So she's smiling. She seems good. She seems well. She's living life. She's thriving with the Mans. She's still with the Mans, which is cool. That's awesome. Stability, right? She went through, throughout this next 6 episodes, she went through a few different key moments and memories of what happened to her from Christine, what Christine did to her. Like being pepper sprayed and being forced to keep your eyes open while being pepper sprayed by your adoptive mother, which is wild. That the Chicconis were the first family for Natalia, and she had memories of being in the orphanage in Ukraine, and that she actually remembers a lot. This is really the only thing that I have a problem with in season 2. We're going to see and hear, well, if you watch it, you'll see and hear a lot of Natalia's memories, and that there's a lot of them from when she was very, very, very young. I have a hard time with people having really, really, really vivid and clear memories of when they were super young, because to me it doesn't make any sense. I maybe have one memory when I was in kindergarten. There's not a single moment in time that I could remember before I was like actually 6 years old. I'm in my 30s, but still, I don't know. This is where things get a little, hi Tommy. This is just one of maybe 1 or 2 things that I just have an issue with. It's just how clear her memory is of when she was so very young. It doesn't quite make sense to me. She has a really good memory. Really good. Okay, so back to the pubic hair incident. Natalia remembers that whole scenario when she was like 6 years old, completely different. That there was no screaming, that Christine did not yell for Michael to come in, that he didn't even come in, that she just got dressed and went to bed. That the closed adoption was a lie, and that the closed adoption was a way to separate the truth and lies, and keep the truth as secret as possible for the Barnett family. Natalia met a few families in between the Chicconis and the Barnetts, and one of them really wanted her. Well, they both wanted her, but the finances were just not there to pay the $25,000 legal fees. But she should have been with anyone but the Barnetts. There was a tooth memory that Christine was mad that Natalia's baby tooth fell out, And she says, you know, like, why'd you pull your baby tooth out? Why'd you pull your tooth out? And she's like, I didn't. I don't know this. I can't comment. So just a lot of memories she shared with the documentary. There was a dental records took place. So there was like an x-ray of her teeth, and I believe she was maybe six or seven, around there, that a dentist took some x-rays of her teeth, and there were still adult teeth in there. Baby teeth were out, and so she's a young human being, young little baby. But even though that existed, her dental x-rays existed before she got re-aged, their family physician made a comment, apparently, that she was older. So that kind of fueled the fire for the Barnetts to get her re-aged. Interesting, huh? Even though the dental records were there, that she still had her baby teeth inside of her mouth and adult teeth ready to get going once those baby teeth fell out. So what is the reason for season 2? Really, Natalia just has questions that she wants answered. There was a gag order in place. So Natalia could not speak to Michael. Michael could not speak to Natalia. And it was a whole thing. And so now the gag order has been lifted, and Natalia has questions, about what the hell happened and why it happened. And she definitely deserves those answers. But unfortunately, she only has Michael to ask, and from a grown man beating the floor because he needed to show you how it was done, I don't think she's going to get the answers that she wants. So in 2011, Christine got her book deal. In 2013, her book came out. I'm just like retelling the documentary, you guys. There was apparently a movie in the works, and Jacob unfortunately saw none of the money that came from the book, apparently, allegedly. These are all just from the doc. There was no money. The Lone Wanderer. To be fair, I know a guy who still had baby teeth at 23. Interesting. Does that guy, the Lone Wanderer, have dwarfism? Because that may play a part. That, I don't know. They didn't get into the science of any of that, and I haven't done any research into that. Let's see. Oh, there was a teacher that said that Natalia was a normal child, first grade level, could have been in second maybe, but, you know, first grade was fine. She was not a prodigy. But Christine still pulled her out of school. So Christine pulled Natalia out of school because she was running kids over with her wheelchair or something like that. Like something so ridiculously silly. And so she pulled her out of school. Oh, no, he does have autism now. Interesting. I wonder what causes that. I know I had to have my two front baby teeth surgically removed because they wouldn't fall out. So, interesting. But Christine faked all the transcripts. So there is even, when it came out that Christine, in the documentary, when it came out that Christine faked the transcripts, it made it seem almost that she faked the transcripts to the point where Jacob may not actually be a genius, or be as smart as she's been saying that he is, which is very interesting. That's a conversation for another day. Though, talks about the Barnetts brainwashing Natalia to repeat the lies that when she told her neighbors in her first apartment that she's 22, when she told her neighbors in her first apartment that she tried to poison her mom and she likes to hide knives and all that stuff. Was it brainwashing? Why was she saying that? Was she scared to say anything else, that someone might find out that she said something else? Your son has autism. I think speaking on autism, I don't want to like get too far off. Crystal knows. I'll just go. Speaking of autism, there's a family channel called Fathering Autism. And there's been a lot of there. Okay, so they kind of flew under the radar for their first like 4 or 5 years online, and now they're starting to get like into the limelight of this is a family channel who is, you know, forcing a camera in front of their nonverbal autistic daughter, and the mom is like part of an MLM. So let me know if you guys would be interested in like a deep dive on them, because I think that's very interesting, because I used to watch them. I can honestly say that I learned a lot about autism from watching this family, you know, with a daughter in her, you know, in her teens, her early teens, mid-teens, late teens, with autism, and just life as like a human, like a family with a child with who has nonverbal autism, and like what, you know, this one way of them, you know, aging out of school and going into a continuation of education and turning that into, you know, like life skills. So, I work with kids with autism. Yeah, it's called the channel's called Fathering Autism. Just be wary. They're, you know, they're getting some hate, which I can see. Like, it's understandable hate and annoyance and complaints. But I honestly learned a lot. There's another family vlogger crew called Norp and South. I hate watch. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So far from easy. And they share those moments where they like the reason I not just found education but like entertainment with Fathering Autism was that I saw like they showed the real moments, you know, the tears and the laughs and, you know, the stress and the anxiety and like the real moments, like this sucks, and like, you know, if she's hurting herself or she's hurting someone else, there's you know, an extreme measure that they had to take. They were able to recognize and like share like just how much it like hurt their soul, but they have to do what they have to do for their child. They have a few disabled kids and they treat like crap. Oh my God. Lone Wanderer. Oh my God. My son is nonverbal. Crystalline, your son is nonverbal. Lots of I don't even, that's really difficult. I can see that there could be really difficult times with that, but probably some really, but I'm sure some really amazingly beautiful moments. That's so. Cashing in a 4-number box today. Okay, Tommy, go get your money. Okay, back to this. Maybe we'll talk about Fathering Autism, and I'll look up Norp and South, and we'll talk about them next week with some Gypsy Rose Blanchard, of course. Okay, so basically the summation of season 2 is Natalia needs to speak with Michael. Now, Natalia's current family that she's living with, the Mans, are a bit on the religious side, which you have your religion. I have absolutely not a single judgment for religion. But the way that this religion was placed into this moment was very, very interesting. So Natalia is on her way, walking into the building to speak with Michael. Michael sat down in front of the cameras, mic'd up, ready to go. Natalia is walking in with her new dad. And he says, we need to pray about this. I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing at the moment and where it happened. They were literally 2 steps from the wide open door, which led to the very room that Michael was sitting in. And this was a robust prayer. It felt like it went on for forever. It was probably only like a minute or 2. It was strong. It was powerful. It was moving. It had ups and downs. And it was a big deal. That definitely set Michael off and put him on edge for sure. His lawyer was there. But unfortunately, it ended with Michael storming out because he didn't like the way that he was being told to speak by Natalia's new dad. There were a lot of things in between, but when it comes down to it, this season, the second season of this series, it came down to the second meeting. So they gave it another go. It was like a month or two later. Michael rolls up in his little sports car, and is ready to meet, is ready to have the conversations. I wrote in my notes, Papa Prayer, and that's terrible, but he wasn't there. And they had a conversation. Natalia was going in with her foot down, ready to get answers, ready to find out and like demand to know why this happened. You know, why didn't you step in when Christine was beating me? You know, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you help me? Why didn't you do this? You had responsibility too. So, I have those notes on my phone. So, okay. So Natalia asks, you know, why did you let Christine do this? And Michael plays a really good game about having the same monster as Natalia. He's like, girl, same. I don't know. Like, I didn't, look, we were both abused by the same human, we have the same monster, the same evil, we share the same evil. So let's trauma bond. That was his basic response. We're now trauma bonding. I think the episode was called Trauma Bond. We're trauma bonding over us having the same evil abuser in our lives, even though, you, Michael, are a grown-ass adult, and that was a child. So, you know, whoopsies, silly goose there. She asked him if he knew about the re-aging, and of course he said yes. But he also got a little mad because the re-aging was supposed to be completely off the table. That topic was supposed to not come up in this conversation. It was the one thing that he was not going to talk about. And he got a little mad. He stood up. He almost left. He took a little breather, but he did come back. And she asked him, why not just put me back up for adoption? And he's like, you know what? I wanted to. It was about 6 months in. You weren't legally ours yet. And I said, no harm, no foul. That's what he said. He said, no harm, no foul. No harm, no foul about just giving a human back. Because the papers weren't signed to legally make Natalia their child at that point. But Michael said Christine wanted it for her celebrity, for her online appearance. It gave her good attention to have a special needs child that she can educate and comfort and soothe and raise, and that sort of energy. She asked, why did you take me out of school? Michael, of course, handed over the answer. Well, Christine said you were causing problems in school with your wheelchair and like hurting people. So Christine did that. I didn't have any say in it. There were reports from a hospital staff. So they did kind of like a cutaway. There were reports from a hospital staff that the Mans, while they were taking care, so this was when Natalia was away from the Barnetts, that the Mans didn't want to take her back because she did have to go to like a mental health facility for a little bit while in the Mans' care. And there was notes, medical records, notes, doctors, nurses, etc., that said that the Mans didn't want to take her back, that it wasn't that she was wild, you know, that she didn't want to back, which was weird. Because the whole time, the Mans have been saying, oh my God, she's great. She's wonderful. She's our baby. Like, she's part of the family. Like, we're so happy. But this is on paper. So that was really confusing for everyone involved. Like, why is this happening? Natalia asks, why didn't you step in when, you know, Christine, your wife, was beating me? Like, question, you know, just a little question mark. Why didn't you do anything? And he said, well, I thought it would be more impactful if I recorded it and then was able to show Christine just how crazy, psychotic, all those things, how like damaging this was. And then maybe she would see just how awful it really is. So I'm not gonna stop a grown woman beating a child in my own home, but I am gonna pull my phone out real quick, take a video, and try to, I don't know, blackmail her with it, essentially. But unfortunately, Christine was super sneaky, and she had really soft feet when she walked, and saw that he was watching the video and made him like fully delete his phone, like factory reset. This man has an answer for everything, and the answer will always be Christine did it. Let's see. Okay, so Natalia and Michael has a way with words that can make someone who is like open to the idea of no longer standing firm. Like, if you're open to the idea of like being brainwashed, or like has previously been brainwashed by Michael since you're a little child, Natalia was able to kind of fall right back into line with that energy. And yes, agree, Crystalline. Natalia was able to fall right back into that energy of, like, okay, Michael, thank you. I appreciate your apology. I forgive you. She literally forgave him in this interview. She forgave him. She said, I forgive you. Like, she said it like 5 times. I forgive you. And then she said, can I pray? Sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at having a religion. I just think it was such a ridiculous moment. Can I pray for you? Nothing against saying prayers, having that energy, putting it up whatever way you want. But the way it happened was so absolutely ridiculous. And it felt so forced, and it was so uncomfortable. And so Natalia says, can I pray for you? And so he gets down on his knees on the ground and puts his head down, and she prays over him. And then they go along with their lives, and Michael feels freed. He's like, everything is lifted off of my chest, off of my shoulders. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's great. She's great. And Natalia's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go be adopted by the Mans. Okay, great. Like, legally, it's going to happen. The papers are going to be signed. I'm going to be adopted by the Mans. Awesome. And so the series ends with Natalia being adopted by the Mans. Yay. Oh, woo, woo, woo. But then it cuts to 6 months after the final adoption. A phone call. The producers got a phone call from the Mans, the mother and the father, that basically, not verbatim, they're saying that something isn't right with Natalia, and I feel like she's the enemy of the house. Natalia said that they held her hostage, and Natalia is stabbing her family in the back, and that this is a new low, no emotions for anyone but herself, and that they're done with her. So it cuts to, Natalia's story will continue for a season 3, which I thought was disgusting, but I feel really, so obviously, you probably recognize we didn't hear from Christine at all. She was not part of this. She thinks that posting on Facebook is enough. I'm not going to go through her posts. I'm not going to do it. It's basically, it's all the things. It's all the things. It's all the same information. It's all the crap. So the story, in summation, is that Natalia, as a child, was not only tossed and passed around from family to family for years upon years, but was literally left to fend for herself at the age of 8 to 10 years old. Literally left to fend for herself. Was still continued to be tortured by this family, even while she was forced to live in her own apartment, and the rest of the family lived in a completely different country. And they got away with it somewhat. The court of public opinion, they're all terrible people. They're awful. Michael's lawyer made note that their that all the families that have come in contact with Natalia have stories of how wild and terrible and these things happen, and it's not normal. But no one during her childhood sat her down or sat any of the parents down and explained to them that you are not receiving a child without trauma, that this child, teeny tiny baby, was being traumatized since she was born. Is the moment she entered this world, she was removed from her mother. And I'm pretty sure there's like scientific data that's like, that messes with your brain, that changes chemistry inside of your body. So I hate what they did at the end. That to me was completely uncalled for. And like, it'd be one thing to be like, hey guys, here's a season 3, an update. There was some drama, but here's some stuff. But to leave it on a cliffhanger, on a one final moment, like, to be continued. This is a real human being. This is their real life. This is not a reality show. This was supposed to be a docu-series, not Jersey Shore. So that's Natalia Grace from the viewpoint of the HBO documentary. I hope she's well. Hope she's okay. Hope she's able to just, oh my God. I can't even imagine. But anywho, that's that. That is all the information from my brain that I can even allow to be there anymore. And now it's gone. It's gone. It's all gone. I thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for watching. If you are not subscribed, definitely subscribe before you head out. I will be back next Friday with a new episode of Lily's News. I guess we're going to cover family vloggers and special needs children, I guess. So that's pretty cool. Good to know what I'm doing next week. All right. I thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.